In stadiums shouldn't stop the usual suspects from going down.
Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
Now, you're very welcome back. Good as always to have you with us this evening. Myself here in studio, Dan McDonnell is with us, and we're joined by Andy West from Barcelona. Andy.
Good evening.
Not pretty over there. So, it's all kicking off. Atletico Madrid, we should remind people, are top of the table and going very well, and Luis Suarez is doing brilliantly, and they're 10 points clear of Barcelona in second and Real Madrid in second. But it's, well, we'll get on to Barcelona being broke, and we'll tease that out in a moment. But it's Messi's contract leak in El Mundo, his €555 million contract leak, which is creating a bit of a storm. There are only 4 copies of the contract, apparently. Messi has one, Barca has one, La Liga has one, and Messi's law firm has one. Who leaked it, Andy?
Well, there's the question. My answer to that would be the former president, Josep Maria Bartomeu, who you will recall was basically forced into resigning a couple of months ago after a couple of years at least of very heavy criticism over the way he'd been running the club. And the most vocal critic and the one who probably hurt the most, the criticism, was Messi. This was really came to head in the summer, of course, when Messi wanted to leave. He basically said that the president had lied to him repeatedly. And he repeated that again in December after Bartomeu did finally leave. So there's a lot of bad blood. They've been feuding for a long time. Messi publicly absolutely hammered Bartomeu, who is now out of the picture. He's lying low. But of course, he had opportunity, as you say, only 4 copies of it, but there are potential to make photocopies, and Bartomeu, of course, could have done that. Or his associates, not just Bartomeu, the small number of allies that he has remaining, such as Sandro Rosell, the former president. So the widespread belief is that it was, if not from Bartomeu, then from someone very close to him. He's always played the media as well. He's always known how to get the headlines that he's wanted. And he's done it at a time of clearly trying to damage Messi. And I thought it was really telling that it came a day before the transfer window closed. If he'd done it early January, there would have been time, if Messi wanted, for him to react to this by saying, right, I'm going to leave, I'm going to sign a contract now to join PSG, Man City. But by the end of January, of course, the window is closing, so the opportunity to do that is limited. But I think it's really just an act of revenge, put it that simply.
In light of his absence, I'll say that he might, I presume he would strictly deny leaking it. It was good to get a straight answer to that question. I was expecting you to kind of say, I don't know who leaked it. It was interesting.
You asked me a question, I've got to answer it. But he has already denied it. It's so obvious. It's so obvious that he's the prime suspect.
Means and motive.
He's exactly. He's all the reasons in the world, more reasons than anyone else, and also to mess with the potential new president, who is expected to be Joan Laporta, who was the predecessor as president before Rosell, Bartomeu's ally, who fell out. It's all very, very political. So all sorts of reasons. But he has already denied it. He's been forced to deny it because as soon as everyone saw it, it was the obvious reaction, well, it must have been Bartomeu.
Messi won't earn the full €555,237,619, but he'll do okay over these 4 years. For instance, things like a renewal bonus accounted for €115 million. There was also then a €77 million loyalty bonus, which will come in 2 payments. He'll get €72 million in addition to add-on payments for playing more than 60% of games. There are a number of performance-related add-ons, you know, including where Barcelona finish up in the Champions League each year. But like looking at all the various twists and turns of this contract, he'll go a decent way towards the $500 million over 4 years. So it's a hell of a lot of money. That doesn't surprise anyone, I don't think. And he's always been regarded as one of the wealthiest athletes in the world. But has the El Mundo story, Andy, in light of Barcelona's financial woes, has it sparked any debate as to whether or not Barcelona really are spending their money wisely, this much money wisely on Messi over these 4 years?
It's sparked debate over whether Barca are spending their money wisely, but not on Messi.
Okay.
I haven't seen much suggestion that they shouldn't be paying him that much. Yeah, of course he's overpaid. Of course he's a footballer. He does not deserve to be paid $2 million a week. But in the context of him being the greatest footballer of all time and what he means for Barca on and off the pitch, because the amount of commercial revenue that he generates through shirt sales, and I know it's oversimplistic to say that when they sell a shirt with his name on it, the club gets the money, because of course it's tied up in a contract with Nike rather than being directly what they earn. But they've got that contract because they know how many shirts they will sell with his name on it. All the overseas pre-season tours, all the sponsorships have gone crazy in football in general in the last few years, and at Barcelona. Everything you could sponsor has been sponsored, and it's because they want to be associated with Barca, yes, but with Messi. So he generates a huge amount of revenue for the club. But the widespread reaction has been, yes, they wasted their money on Coutinho, on Dembélé, on Griezmann, 350 million euros signing those three players. That's where they wasted their money, not on Messi. Because
El Mundo certainly spun this as, well, this is one of the reasons Barcelona's going down the toilet. That was the presentation of the contract.
That was because that's how they were given the contract. You know,
yeah.
You don't just get given a contract and be told, here you are, do what you want with it. It's, I can give you this extremely valuable real estate that will get everyone in the world talking about it as we are now on these conditions. You run it in this way. This is the angle that you present. Messi's ruining the club. Because, okay, I said it was probably Bartomeu. It might not have been. It might have been someone else. But whoever was doing it, it was to undermine Messi and try to turn Barca fans against him, which, as far as I have seen, has spectacularly failed. Okay. But that was the intention. So, yeah, it was the El Mundo only got the report, the contract, on the basis that they would report it that way.
And did I see he's taking, quote, appropriate legal action? I'm not sure what that can be. Really, has the paper done anything wrong?
I'm not a lawyer, but can you print confidential information if it's, even if you've received it? I don't know. I don't know what the legal implications are. They obviously either believe that the El Mundo have acted improperly in printing it, even though nobody has attempted to deny what they've got is true.
Yeah.
So there's no suggestion that they've printed anything that is false, or they believe they can somehow find the source and take the legal action that way.
Yeah. I suspect El Mundo will argue Barcelona's demise is in the public interest, and this is part of it. But either way, we'll see how that all plays out. Dan, before we move on to the general situation at Barcelona, which is not pretty, anything jumping out at you about the Messi contract?
Well, listen, I think we know he can afford to lose the court case, which is what a lot of people. There's reasons why people don't pursue court battles sometimes. I think he can afford. No, listen. I mean, I echo what Andy says there in many respects. Well, his summation of it, but also, I mean, Barcelona losing a lot of money. I'm not sure if they're spending on Messi is where you start. No, I'm interested in hearing more about the reasons behind the broader situation. But like Messi, like football is obscene. Of course, the money that people earn is over the top, etc., etc. But like he's someone who's been doing his stuff for a long period of time, and it's not a scandal like an Alexis Sanchez contract. You know what I mean, or something like that. So I don't know. It seems like a bad tactic. But whoever employed it to see if it's going to drive things in a particular way. But how have Barcelona ended up so broke? That's what I really want to hear, because it's sort of an extraordinary thing if we can run through some of the figures.
It sure is. So, I mean, the short version is they're £1 billion in debt. £1 billion in debt. 74% of the club's income goes on player wages. That's your fault, Messi, let's be honest. But 74% goes on player wages. They were scrambling, I read over the weekend, Andy, to even get the £220,000 to get Eric Garcia over, whose contract is running down at City, and he was prepared to come. And like, we're talking, you know, in the context of a football club, pennies, like 220 grand is a player's...
And they haven't signed him.
Weekly wage, right, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, I guess to Dan's question, it's one, it looks like it's really bad, but maybe, I don't know, maybe football clubs have the earning power to service a debt like $1 billion comfortably, but it doesn't seem that way at Barca. So one, it does look really bad, and two, how has it become so bad?
It's been an accumulation over time, and yes, the spending, the figure you gave, 74% of revenue on player wages, is enormous. But it's not just Messi. They've handed out so many long-term, high-paying contracts to players like Jordi Alba, who, not to make him a scapegoat, but to make him an example of a player who was given a contract not so long ago until he's 35. He's now 32. He's clearly way past his peak, yet they're still tied into paying him for another 3 years at those colossal fees. And actually, it was distorted, yes, partly through Messi, but it would be easy for the club to say we make a special case for Messi because of who he is, and other players would have to accept that. It actually distorted when they signed Neymar and made him the second highest earner at the club before he'd even proved himself, before he'd even played in European football. That led to all the other players around saying, right, if he's got that, then we want that. And that was maybe even more than Messi, going back to when they signed Neymar in, what was it, 2013, that was the catalyst for the massive wages they paid to players. Too much. They paid too much to players. But obviously, Barca have been impacted by COVID more than any other club, probably, because they are fundamentally reliant on tourism more than any other club. The Barca's museum, anyone who's been to Barcelona who's listening will have been to Camp Nou. Many people will have gone on the club tour, the stadium tour, which is expensive, but it's worth it. It's really good. And that is the most visited museum in Barcelona, which is a city of great art and museums. It's got a Picasso museum, but the Barca museum was the most visited. So you've taken all that out because obviously there's no visitors for a year. As well as the match tickets. A lot of people who are listening would have gone to Barca and timed it for a game and gone and pay €100 for an average seat. That's all gone as well. So they have been impacted more than any other club by COVID, which has pushed them over the edge. But they were already on the edge because of the mismanagement over many years by Bartomeu. It's really Bartomeu and Rossell, his predecessor, his ally. They were the ones who led the club on the road to ruin.
I must say, I've often wondered from afar about their presidential system. So, as you said, the new vote's going to happen when voting's allowed with the COVID situation. It does, Andy, incentivise short-termism, like let's bring in the big names. Often these presidential campaigns are run along those lines. I don't know if, well, I'm going to get the finances in reasonable order and in 10 years' time we'll have a nice serviceable debt is the sexiest of slogans.
No. And it's even happening now. And the name being fought over at the moment is Xavi, with the two main candidates, Victor Font and Joan Laporta, who, as I mentioned, is a previous president wanting to come back. They're both claiming that Xavi's their man, and the other one says, no, Xavi's my man. No, Xavi, he's with me. No, he's with me. And that's happening now, as he will come back as the next coach.
So if you're Xavi, by the way, your contract's going to be pretty sweet based on that situation.
And if you're Ronald Koeman, you're thinking, well, thanks a lot. Yeah. I'm trying to reshape the team, and the new president's already talking about replacing me. So yeah, it is short-termism. It's just like politics in real life. People chase votes rather than long-term policies.
Dan, have you been to Barcelona?
Yeah, no, I have.
Have you been to the Picasso Museum?
I think I can't remember if I went to that, but I went to the Camp Nou tour anyway. That's
all
for
I want
sure.
to hear.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Exactly.
Snap, says me and everybody listening.
It's sort of mad though. Like we sometimes think that TV money will save big clubs from everything, but clearly the longer COVID goes on, it's actually not true. That it's actually some of the clubs are really hurting. And that's it's a very striking thing.
Andy, before you go, a word on Atletico and Luis Suarez.
Well, Luis Suarez is doing what Luis Suarez has always done: score goals. I think he's unfortunate to have been fortunate because he played with Messi, but unfortunate from his individual perception to have played in the same era as Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, because he would have won 2 or 3 Ballon d'Ors. He's a sensational goal scorer, maybe the best number 9 we've seen over the last 20 or 30 years. And he's continuing to score goals, and it's no surprise because he remains a brilliant finisher. And the bigger picture is the way Diego Simeone is reshaped Atletico. They have this long-held standing as a defensive team, 4-4-2, defend, clean sheet, maybe nick a 1-0 win. But this year they're playing in a very different way, much more adventurous. He's gone to 3 at the back, which has enabled him to get an extra attacking player on the field. So they're often starting games with Luis Suarez, João Felix, Marcos Llorente, who's a forward now, Thomas Lemar, all of them playing. And it's great to see, to be honest. They're very refreshing to watch. It's a new Atletico, but they've done it without losing the solidity. So, and when you have Luis Suarez as the centrepiece of the attack, you're going to score goals and win games. And they are absolutely flying, 50 points from 19 games. Very impressive.
OK. Andy West, always great to have you on. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Cheers. We'll take a short break. Manchester United 6-0 up now. We'll fill you in on the goals in just a second. But United 6-0 up and Crystal Palace still 2-1 up on Newcastle.
Football on